Russian officials say they're disappointed that President Obama has called off next month's one-on-one meeting with President Vladimir Putin in Moscow. The talks were scrubbed less than a week after Russia gave temporary asylum to NSA leaker Edward Snowden. And it's not the first time these superpowers' relations have gone sour. Margaret Brennan is at the State Department this morning. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning to you again, Anthony and to Nora. Well, this decision to cancel this meeting marks the first time in decades that an American president has called off a publicly announced sit-down with Russia. This high-level diplomatic snub signals that the Obama administration's attempts to reset relations has hit pause. Improving U.S.-Russian relations was one of President Obama's top foreign policy goals when he came to office.
It's difficult to forge a lasting partnership between former adversaries. It's hard to change habits that have been ingrained in our governments and our bureaucracies for decades. That's why I have called for a reset in relations between the United States and Russia.
That started with an actual mock reset button, which then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton handed her Russian counterpart. It was famously mistranslated.
We worked hard to get the right Russian word. Do you think we got it?
You got it wrong.
I got it wrong.
There was also little obvious warmth between the two leaders. The Russian President Vladimir Putin, a former KGB agent, played the strongman in public and in private. He refused to budge in negotiations with Obama on Syria, arms reduction, and missile defense. Meanwhile, the two countries continued to spy on each other, but the Snowden affair is the latest damaging incident. President Obama blamed it on outdated thinking.
There have been times where they slip back into Cold War thinking and a Cold War mentality. And what I consistently say to them and what I say to President Putin is that's the past.
That complicated relationship heated up during the Cold War. Many a president tried to ease tensions, manage a nuclear arms race, and stop the spread of communism.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
After the Soviet state fell, relations warmed under Bill Clinton and President Boris Yeltsin, but little changed. Things seemed to start off well when Vladimir Putin entered office. George W. Bush said he trusted him after just one meeting.
I was able to get a sense of his soul.
Bush later said Putin changed. Conflicts and mutual distrust rose again. Ambassador Stephen Pfeiffer was a Russian specialist in the Clinton White House and said Russia still sees the U.S. as an adversary.
Russia's mindset, how it looks towards the outside world, still sort of looks at itself as a competitor, and part of this gets back to the self-image of the superpower. If you're going to be a superpower, you want to set yourself up against someone, and it's not going to be Italy or France, it's going to be the United States.
Tomorrow, Secretary of Defense Hagel, Secretary of State Kerry will sit down with their Russian counterparts here in Washington, and that'll test whether they can find any points of agreement. They'll discuss arms reduction and the brutal civil war in Syria, the two back opposing sides.